Hello and welcome to VR Reviews. Today we're reviewing the DC Comics Designer Series Greg Capullo, Mr. Freeze. So yes, here we have Mr. Freeze. My first one of these series here. It's an interesting line that does sort of Greg Capullo versions of various Batman characters so far. And they're usually pretty nicely done, and Mr. Freeze is no exception. He has really good articulation, which is hit and miss sometimes for DC collectibles. And overall, it's just a really, really cool looking figure. So let's go ahead and zoom in for the articulation, sculpt, paint details, all those sorts of things.
Alright, starting off with a quick size comparison. Of course, here we have Mr. Freeze. Here we have our standard Marvel Legends 6-inch Superior Spider-Man and 3 3/4-inch Marvel Universe Wolverine. Mr. Freeze is in a 7-inch scale, so he is a bit taller than a Marvel Legends figure, and of course, way taller than Marvel Universe. He should fit in well with other 7-inch scale DC collectible stuff, though. Let's get the other two out of here and just look at Mr. Freeze. Alright, moving on to a 360 spin. Here you can see Mr. Freeze. He is wearing a sort of jumpsuity kind of thing. It's got a almost denim-y kind of texture to it, which is interesting. He's got some plates on the legs and some tubes coming out of those legs. He also has some rubbery tubes around his chest area. And then he's got a big pack on his back there. He's got these little sort of metal things on his arms, but other than that, his arms are bare. That's a thing that I was a bit iffy about this design, is that Mr. Freeze I always feel like should just be completely suited up, but he's not entirely at the moment. I've kind of gotten used to it, and it's an interesting design. He's got some little tanks and valves and things on his chest armor bits. And other than that, there's not a lot going on. He's got a holding hand and sort of a grasping out kind of hand. Pretty standard kind of hand choices there. Overall, he looks really cool, so I have no issues with that. Let's go ahead and zoom in on his head sculpt. Head sculpt-wise, I really, really like it. This is like ideal Mr. Freeze head sculpt, pretty much. He's got really nicely done goggles with little metallically painted lenses. He's got little sort of lines sculpted into the face. He's got a nice scowl expression. He does have a bit of like white hair up here at the top, which I'm not totally fond of, but it's not too distracting. And of course, you can also put on his big Lindsay helmet thing here, and you know, block his face a bit more. That fits down in this neck thing once you adjust it right, which I'm not doing right now. And, yeah, proper Mr. Freeze head. Now let's zoom out and look at some articulation. Articulation-wise, DC collectibles can be a bit hit and miss, but Mr. Freeze is definitely a hit. He's got a nice head up and down rotation that will go away once you put the head tube on. But you can just pose his head and then put it on, so it's fine. Ball joint shoulders, in and out, forward and back, bicep cut, single joint elbow, wrist hinge and rotation. He has an abdominal joint, which is nice. Waist cut as well. Hips go in and out, forward and back. Thigh cut, double jointed knees. Hinges and rotation in the ankle. And that is it, and that is great. Very nice articulation. Pretty much maximum articulation from what I've seen from DC Collectibles, and pretty much on Marvel Legends par, really. So that's very, very cool, and I definitely approve of that. You can get him into any pose that you really need to. And Mr. Freeze is not even an especially flexible character, so that works out really nicely. Mr. Freeze comes with some accessories, so let's go ahead and look at those. Of course, Mr. Freeze is incomplete without both of these accessories. He has his freezing gun, which is a nice gun metal with some blue details on it, so that looks cool. He can hold that in his holding hand. And then, of course, he has his little helmet thing that you can just slide on over his head. Both very necessary and very good additions to the figure. Now that wraps it up for Mr. Freeze and all of his accessories, so let's move on to the packaging. Packaging-wise, Mr. Freeze comes in the standard for the Greg Capullo series. White box here, nice big window with the name over here on the side. Mr. Freeze, DC Comics Designer Series, Greg Capullo. On the back you get pictures of other figures that are available. Red Hood, Catwoman, Mr. Freeze, and the deluxe figure, which is the Thrasher suit Batman. At the moment, I only have Mr. Freeze, and I don't know that I'll get any of the rest of these. Maybe Catwoman? I don't know. As is always the case with windowed boxes, this is good for in or out of package displays, so yeah, Mr. Freeze.
Alright, that wraps it up for Mr. Freeze, so until next time, goodbye!
Hello, you've just watched one of my videos. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed my videos. If you didn't, run away and never return. Also, feel free to check out my other channels, Venom Raptor for all my variety gaming content, and VR Reviews for reviews of various action figures and collectibles. Thank you, and goodbye.